Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining the deep dive workshop, Energy Transition in Asia through Asia Zero Emission Community, AZEC. I'm delighted to see so many people joining the AZEC session. This session, followed by the Transition Finance session, is the initiative that the government of Japan is undertaking by collaborating with the governments, the private sector, and the financial institutions in Asia to achieve net zero emissions in the Asian region and AZEC partner countries. The AZEC overall objective is to reduce carbon emissions in Asia while supporting economic growth. Asia is the growth center of the world, and therefore accelerating energy transition in Asian region is the key to achieve the goals of the Paris Agreement. The efforts for decarbonization should not constrain sound economic growth of the region, while at the same time keeping energy costs affordable for the people of the region. As you recall, the Paris Agreement has the principle of common but differentiated responsibilities and respective capabilities in light of different national circumstances. We further recognize that energy transition should allow for various and practical pathways tailored to fit the circumstances of each country, including in Asian region, which is experiencing a rapid increase in energy demand due to economic growth. These efforts will not be successful if each country is acting alone. There must be effective coordination and cooperation and coordination. With this in mind, the Japanese government is collaborating with ASEAN countries and Australia to create a platform and discuss first, development, demonstration, and deployment of decarbonization strategies, plans, businesses, and technologies. Second, financial support for investments. And third, development, harmonization, and the interoperability of standards of decarbonization technologies and strengthening of human resource capacity in the area. So in this AZEC session, we have distinguished speakers from the government, the private sector, and financial institutions to present their decarbonization efforts and the way forward. I hope that this session is informative and we will have lively discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you indeed, Madam Nagashi, for your encouraging and supportive message to all of us of this session today. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on. You know, the energy transition, as you may notice, we embark upon this right now, not only the shift from fossil to renewable only, as you know. So it's this comprehensive transformation that encompasses technological innovation, encompasses policy reform, and also socio-economic adaptation. It's about redefining our energy system to be more inclusive, to be more sustainable, and to be more resilient. So in aiming for carbon neutrality, like Madam just mentioned, it is crucial that we balance economic growth and energy security. That is very important. Sometimes we call it just energy transition, right? So this just energy transition is require substantial investment, robust policy framework, and international cooperation and cooperation. That's very important. And of course, this remains demanding of the holistic approach from all of us. So the real challenge here is how the region can chart a pathway, you know, toward net zero emission, while sustaining economic growth, as mentioned by Madame Takashi just now. So this is why the Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida has proposed the Asia Zero Emission Community, or AZEC, aiming to navigate a realistic pathway joined between, you know, AZEC partner countries, considering the challenges faced by the region that might be different from those of other parts of the world. So the situation are different depending on each country's circumstance, right? And in pursuing this AZEC, tailored approach very important and very essential. Not one size fits all. So to achieve this goal, IREA in Jakarta was tasked by the AZEC leaders and AZEC minister to set up the Asia Zero Emission Center that will be launched in this August this year as a policy platform to help AZEC partner countries to develop vision, to develop roadmap and policy framework toward decarbonization, toward zero emission, to promote energy transition, as I just mentioned. So today, let's just hear the wisdom of our panelists from government, from industry, financial industry, who will share with us how to cope with the energy transition toward zero emission and the way forward. So to begin with, may I introduce one by one the 7 speakers, and when I call their name, please come onto the floor. First, Mr. Hideyuki Umeda. Please come to the floor. Mr. Umeda is the Director of International Policy on Carbon Neutrality of the International Affairs Division, Agent of Natural Resources and Energy, Minister of Economy, Trade and Industry, METI. Number 2, Mr. N. Harian. I think he may be somewhere here, from Indonesia. Yes, please meet up there. Pak Harian is Executive Vice President of the Strategy Corporate Planning of the PLN, the huge utility of Indonesia. Number 3, Ms. Patrick Aquino from the Philippines. Yes. Director Patrick is the Director of the Energy Utilization Management Bureau, DOE, Department of Energy of the Philippine government. And number 4, Mr. Soichiro Niwa, please. Mr. Niwa, please. Mr. Niwa is the General Manager of the Energy Transition Group of JERA. And number 5, Mr. Tepai Takahashi, please. The floor, come to the floor. Mr. Takahashi is a Senior Vice President in the business development of the Mitsubishi Heavy Industry from Japan. And number 6, Mr. Jun Sasaki. Yes, Mr. Jun, please. Mr. Jun is a General Manager of Carbon Solution Business Group, of Kawasaki, Kaizen Chika in Tokyo for the K line. And last but not least, number 7, Mr. Ryota Suzuki. He's a Director, General of the New Energy Power Finance Development of the Japan Bank for International Cooperation, or JBIC, as we know. So without any further ado, may I invite Mr. Umeda of METI, Government of Japan, for his keynote address on energy transition to Asia Zero Emission Community. Mr. Umeda, the floor is yours. Yeah, you can over there. And you can see the floor over there. Please.
Okay.
Please start.
Do I have?
Yeah, sorry. Please, the floor is yours.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I am Hideyuki Umeda, Director for International Policy on Carbon Neutrality. Today we are very happy to have this deep dive session on AZEC, Asia Zero Emission Community. And firstly, I would like to make a brief keynote speech for scene setting. Firstly, let's look at the reality of Asia. And while many ASEAN countries have announced their intention for carbon neutrality, but the question is how? And as you can see, even within Asia, the composition of power sources differs from country to country. Some countries have a large share of renewable energy, while others are highly dependent on fossil fuels. Moreover, thermal power plants in these countries are still new and have not yet been depreciated, making it difficult to decommission them immediately. So it is important to promote practical energy transitions that are tailored to each country's different circumstances. And in order for energy transitions, the first option is, of course, the introduction of renewable energy. But when we think about the introduction of renewable energy potential should be also considered. This slide shows the potential for solar PV deployment, but potential is not as high in Asia as it is in Africa and Australia. And this slide shows wind power potential, but the potential is relatively higher in high latitude regions such as Europe, and the potential of wind power in Asia is not so high. And this slide and the next slide shows the amount of electricity generated by each power sources in developed countries and Asian countries. And the amount of electricity generation in developed country has remained flat or declined slightly. And the use of coal and other fossil fuel is also on a downward trend. On the other hand, amount of electricity generation in Asian countries have been growing rapidly in recent years, along with their economic growth, and the dependence on fossil fuels are increasing. So transition policies should be tailored to the such circumstances of these countries. And then I would like to introduce our thoughts for green transformation in Asia. And well, we call as AZEC principles. First is triple breakthrough, and Japan aims to simultaneously achieve emission reduction, economic growth, and energy security. And the second principle is one goal barriers pathway. Towards our common goal of achieving net zero, we will make practical energy transitions through various pathways depending on the circumstances of each country. In light of the above thoughts, Japan launched the Asia Zero Emission Community, so-called AZEC. In January 2022, Prime Minister Kishida announced the concept, and based on his concept, the first ministerial meeting was held in March 2023. Also, in December 2023, the first AZEC leaders meeting was held back-to-back with Japan ASEAN special leaders meeting. At the leaders meeting, AZEC principles, including a triple breakthrough and one goal barriers pathways, were shared and agreed to agreed to establish Asia Zero Emission Center for the policy coordination. Also, ASEAN-BAC, Keidanren, and area agreed to launch AZEC advocacy group for public-private cooperation. In addition, over 350 cooperation projects were highlighted in the progress report. And in this slide shows the key points of the AZEC leaders joint statement. Well, I want to bore you with the details, but it does describe the AZEC approach that I have been describing, one goal, like a one goal barriers pathway or a triple breakthrough. And this slide is a breakdown of the over 350 cooperative projects listed in the progress reports. And through these substantial projects, Japan wants to contribute to the decarbonization in Asian countries. Well, this is the last slide for my speech and keynote speech, and this idea of AZEC is introduced in the movie on YouTube, and you can see, so please see these movies. And well, this is the end of my presentation. Lastly, I would like, again, the principles of AZEC triple breakthrough and one goal barriers pathways. And so I hope today's discussion become fruitful and become fruitful. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Umi. Very encouraging, and very, comprehensive success of this, the future of AZEC. I think the key sign that we can learn this morning is, you come up with a startup, almost 400 projects in various areas. Quite interesting to start up. So I would say that the AZEC, under the AZEC framework, you can move forward more. There might be some questions from the floor or not, because Mr. Omeda may not join the Q&A. If you have one question from the floor, I'm welcome. Otherwise, we're going to move down to the Q&A after this. Any question to Meti on AZEC operation? No, not yet. So with that, thank you so much, Mr. Omeda. Once again, thank you so much. So please stay. So you can join us. So next, I like to move on. Question will come during the Q&A when you hear more on the AZEC activity. So to hear the carbonization policy from the government this time, I like to invite Mr. Harian of the PLN of Indonesia to present all of us the decarbonization initiative in Indonesia. Mr. Harian, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Harlan from PLN, state-owned company from Indonesia. Okay, I want to have the presentation about our effort and our goal to be net zero emission in 2060. Okay, this is the PLN at glance. That we are the utility company from the generation until distribution. And then this is what is our challenge. Our challenge is to be how to be the green company. This is the challenge one. This is energy transition challenge, and then business development challenge, and also the technology adoption. This is what we call it a challenge for us. This is a message from our president. Ensuring that the transition to low carbon energy is fair and equitable. This is our reference. This is what we call it moonshot. That we want to be the global company. That's why we put it our goal to be net zero emission moonshot. Here we have a 4 moonshot. We call it moonshot. And then we have the number 3 is net zero emission moonshot. This is what our program for our transformation 2.0 to be the global company. This is number C. This is we can see the net zero emission moonshot. This is accelerated renewable development, the digitalization, scale up co-firing, and also green enabling transmission and system debottlenecking and scale up for the energy certificate. This we call it, if we have the business as usual, we will get the emission until 1 billion ton CO2 in the 2060. That's why this is a very big effort for us to reduce to be zero in 2060. This you can see since still now. We reduce the emissions with our effort program. This is our target. How to achieve? First is in the short term is NDC, National Determined Contribution in 2030. This is we call it short term initiative. We have to reduce the emission. This is around 120 million tons. We have 5 programs there. The biggest one is for the additional renewable capacity. This is also the digitalization, and then also co-firing and energy efficiency. But the long-term initiative beyond 2030 until 2060 to be the zero emissions that our government declare. This 1.1 billion tons is come from the biggest one is a renewable capacity share. This is around 770 million ton. And the other is co-firing, hydrogen, carbon capture, and also the new technology. The new technology is still in the study now. Okay, how to achieve that? This we call it ARED. ARED is accelerated renewable energy development. We have some proposals for some institution that's and then we declare that ARED program is better for us to achieve net zero emission and so safe for our financial for sustainability for our financial and also for the government. This we have to achieve it. We need around 44 gigawatt for the generation, additional generation, and 30 gigawatt is come from the renewable energy. And then also we need some this transmission line. Transmission line is for interconnection between island and island. This is 2,400 kilometer. Backbone is around 15,000, and then the big one is fishbone. Why we call it fishbone? Because we have to accommodate it. We can for all some resources from the renewable energy in Indonesia because it is in the remote area. Okay, is this our planning? We changed our 10 years planning to be now 2024 until 2033. This is from current capacity. This is 9 gigawatt. In 2033, after 10 years, it is to be 39 gigawatt. This is for our renewable energy capacity. And then to be in 2040, this will be a 63, increase around 54 gigawatt. This is just for the renewable energy capacity. This, if we want to make the bar chart, this we can see that the coal still there because this is we don't have the scheme for the coal phase out until now, but this is we call it phase down. So the capacity is still same, but the capacity factor we reduce it. We reduce the capacity factor, and then we increase the renewable energy. The biggest one come from the hydro because we need the hydro for to strengthen our system. It's geothermal, and then the other one is from gas. So that's why we need for the base load gas. We need some more gas. This is our achievement. We have the biggest now in Indonesia, 192 megawatt. We have been announced by our president last year. And then this is our co-firing. We have started to use co-firing for the 47 steam power plant. Yeah, we will do it until 52. This is the co-firing. We need the feedstock now from our target 2.8 million until 10 million. 10 million tons. This is very challenging for us. This is our target for the co-firing. Then this is hydrogen. We have 11 stations for the hydrogen now in Indonesia, and then we got it from the around 21 plant location. This is excess product from our hydrogen plant. Sorry, this is our ammonia. We have a study with Mitsubishi and IHI, and for the two projects is Keramasan, Gresik, and also in Grati also. Yeah? And that's, we have the what is the to increase our co-firing from the ammonia and hydrogen. I hope Mitsubishi and IHI still can help us to implement it. This is our supply chains. Okay, this is how to achieve it. This is our challenging. This is prioritization effort selection most optional funding option. This is PLN funding prioritization. Of course, until now I still need more money from the government, striving from the grant, yeah, and then increasing the percent of rupiah dominated, and then utilizing a credit enhancement, and also the number X is utilizing project clusterization process funding. You see now we make the cluster resizing project. And then the funding option used by PLN, yes, maybe you have know about this two-step loan, yeah, direct loan, export credit agency, and then offshore banking commercial, onshore, and then funding with guarantee from multilateral institution, and then also from the other option, comply with financial market. This, thank you very much for the Japanese institution for support us until now. From JBIX, we have a full for project until now. And then also thank you very much for the other bank from Japanese. This is from Export Credit Agency. This is for like NXC, JICA, MUFS, SMBC, Musaiso Bank, Yokohama, Nanto, and the other. Thank you very much. And then we have also the MOU with AZEC in the G2 summit in Bali, and support our electricity for the energy transition. And then we have also MOU with NEXI, Nippon Export. And then also we have MOU with JBIC also for supporting us to implement, to deploy our transition energy in the future. This is what my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Halim of PLN. I think Indonesia showed, to be a very good, ASEC partner country already. You see the commitment from your president that the GOI, government of Indonesia, can move along accordingly. That is a top-down approach that's really interesting. Then that's why to work hard, to reach your net zero, even on the short term and long term with a very clear target and goal. Very good as example to be the ASEC partner countries, and also you show your intention to go ahead or your kind of just transition by you don't call it phase out, phase down. It is a good thing. Thailand also, Malaysia also, we try to phase down CO2. Coal. At the same time, try to use gas in between, and then go for renewable. And with the funding option, it's quite perfect in terms of cooperation. I think you might have some questions, but I think I can leave it for Q&A because we have Q&A time for that. So without any further ado, let me move on to the third one. So next, may I invite Director Aquino of DOE of Philippines to present all of us the decarbonization initiative in Philippines. The floor is yours.
Thank you. First off, we'd like to indicate our appreciation for being part of this. This is a presentation under the PRISM primarily of the Philippine energy sector. Unlike some of our counterparts here, we are a deregulated and private sector driven. So what the Philippine government in terms of issuances is really to just guide our investors towards our direction. Allow me to start off by pointing what we view as our first fuel. To achieve a low carbon future, really put emphasis on having energy efficiency front and center. And I've been fortunate enough to talk about this topic under the forum for the past couple of days. And what we'd like to indicate is that our strong drive to control something that we can instill in our citizens, which is to be more mindful of their consumption, and also send the signals to our private sector to do the deployment of energy efficient solutions as well as renewable energy. Part of what we're doing is really signaling our investors and our private sector on how to go about it. We do soft mechanisms, which is information, education, and communication campaigns. But more importantly for investors, this is really for the fiscal incentives. And of late, we've offered quite a number of fiscal incentives within the regime that's available. Just recently, at the end of 2023, we've opened up a pathway for under energy efficiency projects to recover up to 50% of the capital expenditures as income tax holidays. We also do the recognition programs for energy efficiency excellence. But I think this is what we are aiming in terms of the Philippine Energy Plan, and my colleagues have been speaking about this for the past couple of days here from the Philippine perspective. Our goal is really to increase the share of renewable energy. And we aim to do it in two manners. One is on the clean energy scenario, wherein we're banking on increased shares from renewable energy, 30% of our power generation mix by the end of this decade, 50% renewable energy power generation by 2040 and beyond. The difference between the two scenarios on clean energy is that there is that drive to increase offshore wind production. That's the only difference between clean energy scenario 1 and clean energy scenario 2. We've also indicated our aspirational targets of bringing in nuclear power for our power generation sector by 2032. For those of you who might be asking, we're looking at small modular reactors that will be coming in by that time, with more conventional reactors coming in by 2035. I'll take this opportunity also to make a pitch on possible coal repurposing that we're eyeing at. So ultimately, this is what we intend to do for our transition. So this is just a summary slide of how we intend to reach that 10%, at least 10% savings in terms of energy consumption through 2040 from energy efficiency, the renewable energy targets, the deployment of electric vehicles. We're looking at a more aggressive 50% EV penetration share for fleets. Nuclear is also there. Smart grid technologies is with ICT. And of course, being a climate vulnerable country, we put emphasis on resiliency. This is all underpinned with the upskilling of our manpower and leveraging of our green energy mineral resources for these emerging technologies. Now, just recently at the start of the year, we came out from the Philippine Department of Energy side, our hydrogen energy guidelines, and an updating of the framework by which we do nuclear energy. Let me just delve into hydrogen first. Hydrogen is something that we view as an alternative. It's an emerging fuel that we're putting emphasis on. We'd like to do the transition of hydrogen using renewable energy. There are now pathways for incentives available for green hydrogen production. These will be under our Renewable Energy Act of 2008. We've also started research and development for fuel cell research last year in partnership with our Science and Technology Department. And this is actually our guiding principles in going into it. We view that hydrogen can be a feedstock, a source of our energy for being energy dense. It can be produced primarily, of course, from renewable energy. Its ability to be stored and used for power generation is something that we're keenly looking at. And then, of course, we've also initiated discussions with the transport sector. It's one of the major fuel consumers here. And we are hopeful to be able to have some prototypes deployed, particularly on hydrogen derivatives of ammonia and methanol for our maritime sector. Now, let me just delve in for the last couple of slides on our nuclear energy program. We will be having our second INER infrastructure review mission from the International Atomic Energy Agency at the end of this year. We are hopeful that we'll be able to jump to the next stage of milestone number 2 to meet our more aggressive timelines of having our first operational nuclear power plant by 2032. We're guided by the 19 infrastructure issues. The Philippine government has taken it upon itself to do a whole of government approach, where, as you can see, there are various agencies involved for a holistic way of going about and bringing this. I'm also pleased to note that we are in the middle of concluding an updated public perception survey. The last perception survey on nuclear was at a high of 69% favorable for nuclear. This would be our priority areas for nuclear. We will be making the pronouncements and the publication of the nuclear energy roadmap. I just mentioned the nuclear surveys being updated. We're also doing some updated studies in the incorporation and financials of nuclear. There are already sites selected. We are working on the communication plan for it, as well as the legislative requirements for it to come in here. The version for the legislation is already with our upper chamber, the Philippine Senate. We are finalizing our radiation plan, And I will be inviting you to an International Suppliers Forum in the week of November 13, the November 13, 14, and 15 here in Manila, so that we can share best practices and possible technologies for Philippine stakeholders, power generation firms, and industry. And then let me just end by putting emphasis again on our targets for renewable energy. You've already seen what we're aspiring, that at least 30% share by 2030 and at least 50% share by 2050. But let me just end with what we've accomplished in the past 2 decades since the enactment of the Renewable Energy Act. We look forward to greater entry of renewable energy with the health and deployment of the smart grid plan for transmission, similar to our counterparts in Indonesia. The greater entry of renewable energy will require investments in transmissions, and we are hopeful that our partners in ADB and probably METI and the government of Japan will do some considerations in assisting us in doing that transition. And with that, I end my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Director Aquino. Thank you for sharing us, the progress of your energy transition under your national plan, energy national plan under DOE supervision. I think the key point that you mentioned is quite important. You said that to drive net zero, emission, private sector driven is very important. That you are right. Support by government policy, and also you highlight the EEC, energy efficiency. That is the right way also. Because energy efficiency, as you know, some countries mention it like a fifth field. Even you cannot stop AEC at any point in time. You can do any time you want. So with that, and then you mentioned about your next step on the RE, on technology, for example, hydrogen is very important, and ICT. I think Philippines is another good model of the AZEC partnership country. Thank you so much. So now I turn your attention to private sector now. So let us move to the decarbonization initiative by the Japanese company. Let me start with JERA. I'd like to invite Mr. Niwa of JERA to present your decarbonization strategy and activity of JERA. The floor is yours, please.
Thank you for introduction. I'm Soichiro Niwa from JERA, Energy Transition Group. I would like to express my appreciation for giving us the opportunity to speak here today. Today, I would like to introduce JERA's decarbonization strategy and activities by taking 10 minutes. This is our mission and vision. Our mission is to provide cutting-edge solutions to the world's energy issues. The vision is to scale up its clean energy platform of renewable and low greenhouse gas thermal power, sparking sustainable development in Asia and around the world. This slide shows the value chain of JERA's business. JERA owns the entire fuel and thermal power generation value chain, from upstream resource development and fuel procurement through fuel transportation, downstream operation of fuel receiving storage terminals, and domestic overseas power generation businesses. Our annual energy handling volume is approximately 35 million tons, which is one of the largest in the world. Power generation capacity is approximately 61 gigawatt, which is the largest in Japan. This is JERA's CO2 emission 2050 roadmap. We will shut down all of our insufficient coal-fired power plant by 2030. In high efficiency coal-fired power plant, we will promote ammonia substitution. We have already commenced the 20% ammonia substitution demonstration test at our Hekinan thermal power plant, and eventually aim for power generation of using 100% ammonia. We will also promote hydrogen substitution for LNG thermal power plant by solving technical issues through the demonstration test, and increase the substitution ratio of hydrogen toward 2050. Of course, we will introduce the renewable energy, focusing on offshore wind power as much as possible. There are initiatives related to renewable energy. JERA is already participated in renewable energy projects such as wind, solar, and battery in several countries. Currently, renewable energy generation capacity all over the world is 2.5 gigawatt, and we set a target of expanding this to 20 gigawatt by 2035. We want to increase the amount of renewable energy as much as possible, but renewable energy itself is not enough to ensure a stable energy supply. So in developed countries such as Europe, attention is focused on the renewable energy. But on the other hand, in Japan, which is island country, and in Asian countries, where further economic growth is expected in the future, JERA believes that promoting decarbonization while maximizing the use of existing thermal power generation facility is the realistic path. By introducing clean fuels such as hydrogen and ammonia into thermal power generation, we can realize CO2 reduction while securing stable energy supply. This is JERA's approach to ASEAN. ASEAN is one of the most important regions for JERA due to its high economic growth and increasing energy demand. So JERA can contribute to ASEAN in both aspects of energy transition and stable energy supply based on 4 pillars, which are direct local network, collaboration with local partners, value chain development, and carbon neutral roadmap. There are initiatives and framework in which JERA and partners from each country work together to promote decarbonization and zero emissions. I don't explain one by one today due to time limitation, but we believe that by promoting these initiatives and taking concrete steps, we can contribute to decarbonization in Asia. Now, I would like to introduce some of our individual initiatives for decarbonization. In February of this year, we commenced a JICA-SANS project to develop a master plan of energy sector for Indonesian energy transition. The consortium consists of TEPCO PG, TEPSCO, MRI, and JERA, with its Indonesian counterparts of MEMR and PLN. The project period is approximately 2 years. During this period, we will conduct electricity demand forecast, power development plans, and propose action plans necessary for decarbonization to achieve the carbon neutrality target of 2060. Now we are discussing with PLN-san regarding the assumption for simulation to develop power generation plans. This shows the progress of 20% ammonia conversion demonstration test at Hekinan coal-fired power plant. The demonstration test is being carried out in cooperation with NEDO, New Energy and Industrial Technology Development Organization, and boiler manufacturer of IHI, Ishikawajima Harima Industries. The objective of this project is to establish ammonia substitution technology at a large-scale commercial coal-fired power plant and evaluate boiler heat absorption characteristics and environmental impact of operation. We replaced all 48 burners to ammonia combustion type burner last year and installed ammonia receiving facilities, including tank and vaporizers. Ammonia consumption during the demonstration test is 40,000 tons per month. At present, the demonstration test is almost completed, with some remaining tests scheduled to be completed by the end of this month. This is just for the image of our modification of the power plant. Let me skip this slide. This is the project in Thailand. We conducted a feasibility study of ammonia substitution in EGCO's BLCP coal-fired power plant. This project was implemented by Japanese consortium with a subsidy from METI-san, Japanese Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry. The feasibility study team considered the modifications required for 20% ammonia conversion of two 717 megawatt coal-fired power plant, analyzed future ammonia prices in Thailand, and finally calculated the LCOE. The results were reported to EPPO, Thailand Energy Policy and Planning Office, Ministry of Energy, last month. Yes, this is a specific activity for hydrogen combustion. JERA, through its subsidiary, JERA Americas, has invested in the operating company of the Linden gas-fired power plant in the United States. The operation company has executed an agreement with Phillips 66, a major oil refiner in the United States, to receive refinery-produced fuel gas containing hydrogen. The operating company has modified the existing gas turbine at Linden unit number 6. After completion of this modification in 2022, Linden unit number 6 now can burn up to 40% hydrogen, reducing CO2 emissions by as much as approximately 10% of annual CO2 emission in unit number 6. This is our activity regarding the CCS introduction. The existing gas-fired and coal-fired power plant owned by PLN-san is under the feasibility study of CCS introduction. There are no major technical problems with installing CO2 capture facilities, but to ensure the economic feasibility to recover the cost of the facilities, a major carbon market and government support are essential. This is actually last slide, but here is the final key takeaways and the way forward at this moment. JERA has announced JERA Zero CO2 Emissions 2050 3 years ago to demonstrate our intention to achieve net zero by 2050 in Japan, and now is conducting 20% ammonia substitution demonstration test in Hekinan coal-fired power plant. As way forward, we will continue to contribute achieving both decarbonization and economic growth of Asian countries by establishing roadmaps which align with energy situations of each country and providing cutting-edge solutions. After the current demonstration test is completed, we will prepare to start the world's first 20% ammonia substitution commercial operation in late 2020. Thank you. Thank you for your attention. This is final.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chera. I think you have shown clearly that your company been through so many ASEAN member states, right, and the AZEC partner country as well. So toward the net zero, you emphasize on the clean fuel like hydrogen and ammonia, right, especially in the thermal power generation. I think you also try to mention how you utilize ammonia substitution, like coal-firing in some countries, Thailand, Indonesia, and your way forward is quite ambitious. 20% of ammonia, commercialized operation is quite interesting. I think that you can mention that in the Q&A on the ammonia and hydrogen, if you don't mind. So thank you so much indeed. So with that, let me move on. We have 3 more companies now. The number 5. May I invite Mr. Takahashi, of Mitsubishi Heavy Industry, for presenting us the managing diversified transition of the company approach to energy transition. Mr. Takahashi, please.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today. My name is Teppei Takahashi, Senior Vice President of Mitsubishi Heavy Industries Asia Pacific. The title of today's presentation is Managing Diversified Transition, MHI's approach to energy transition in APAC region. First of all, let me introduce very briefly about our company. Mitsubishi Heavy Industries Group was founded more than 130 years ago, and we have around 80,000 employees worldwide, and the annual turnover is around $30 billion. And we have 7 regional offices in APAC region: Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Singapore and Australia. And 6,000 employees are working in APAC region. And MHA is sometimes mixed up with Mitsubishi Corporation or Mitsubishi Motors or Mitsubishi Electric, but we are completely independent companies. I'm from the Mitsubishi Heavy Industries Group. The MHA Group has delivered a lot of reliable infrastructures in APAC region, including power systems and transportation systems, and also industrial plants. We are committed to support the energy transition and sustainable infrastructure needs in APAC region. We declared mission net zero and have ambition to achieve net zero by 2040, including scope 3 emissions. To achieve this, we have 3 pillars to achieve that target. The first one is to decarbonize existing infrastructure. The second one is to build a hydrogen solutions ecosystems. And the last one is to build a CO2 solutions ecosystems. As Umeda-san told comprehensively, in Asia Pacific region, the situation of energy supply is different from country to country. Singapore, or for example, rely on natural gas by 95% for power generation. And Australia is rapidly expanding the renewable energy deployment. On the other hand, in the region, especially in Indonesia or Philippines or Vietnam, there are a lot of coal-fired power plants, including old ones and new ones. And this graph shows our realistic approach to reduce CO2 and achieve net zero in future. The vertical axis shows the CO2 emissions rate, and the horizontal axis shows the year. The upper left corner, the gray point, is the base, which represents the emission from conventional type coal-fired plant, let's say 100%. And the CO2 emission from coal-fired power plant can be reduced with ammonia and biomass mixed firing. And alternatively, CO2 emissions can also be reduced by replacing with the gas turbine combined cycle plant, and combining a gas turbine with a CCUS system, we can further reduce CO2 emissions. The CCUS system can also be applied to coal-fired power plant. And ultimately, we propose the fuel conversion to hydrogen or ammonia. Our latest gas turbine is hydrogen ready, and we can combust up to 30% hydrogen mixing into natural gas. And our target to combust 100% hydrogen in the advanced class gas turbine is 2030. And we have various minutes of understandings, as Haren-san say, with organization of Indonesia, such as PLN and Bandung Institute of Technology, etc., to utilize clean fuel such as hydrogen, ammonia. And every country has a different agenda for energy transition, and there is not one solution fits all. MHI will contribute every customer and every country in APAC region with our broad solutions. Our group company, Mitsubishi Power, achieved #1 gas turbine market share in the world in 2023, according to McCoy Power Report. And this page shows the state-of-the-art gas turbine, JAC class. As I explained earlier, by replacing coal-fired power plant with gas turbine combined cycle plant, we can reduce CO2 emission by 65%, even combusting natural gas. And our gas turbines, as I said, are hydrogen ready, and we can combust up to 30% hydrogen mixing into natural gas. And further mix ratio will be achieved just by replacing the combustor of the gas turbine. That is just a part of the gas turbine. This JAC class gas turbine have already been delivered to Thailand and are under construction in Singapore. Also, CCUS solutions are another way to reduce carbon emissions from existing power systems. MHI Group has core technologies in CCUS value chain, including carbon capture, liquefaction, and transportation, storage, and compression. The largest picture shown here is a carbon capture plant named Petronova in the US. The capacity of that is around 5,000 tons per day, the world's largest class. And the emission source is coal-fired power plant, and the captured CO2 is injected into oil well. This amine-based CO2 capture technology is proven one and available today. In this field, we also have the number one market share in the world. Also, in Asia, there will be a demand for CO2 transportation by ship, because sometimes emission site and storage site is remote. You can imagine, for example, emission from Singapore will be exported to Malaysia or Indonesia or Australia. So for transportation, we have been developing the liquefied CO2 vessel. Now the demonstration is ongoing between Kyoto and Hokkaido in Japan. MHI Group has been a partner of Philippines energy industry for over 30 years. We have 3 entities in Philippines for power business. The Mitsubishi Power Philippines is a boiler manufacturer and accredited by DOE in Philippines as a renewable energy manufacturer in 2023. And MHI Power Technical Service provides detailed engineering service, and also the Global Service Center provides remote monitoring service. MHI Group has provided various solutions to ensure a stable supply of the power in Philippines. We look forward to strengthening our support for the country and exploring further collaboration to introduce cleaner energy solutions. I want to provide this key takeaway. MHI Group has 3 pillars of solutions which fit for various customers and nations. We will support the realistic energy transition of customers and nations in APAC region who are tackling the energy trilemma. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Takanashi. I think Mitsubishi is really operating globally, and you just show us your company profile region-wide. So I think most of the country knows you already, and you focus on hydrogen and CO2 emission reduction pillar, very clear. And then I hope that some question may come from the floor. Let us move to the Q&A for some question. So without any further ado, we have 2 more speakers now. So let me invite Mr. Kawasaki, K-Line's initiative on CCS and, liquefied CO2 transportation. Mr. Sasaki, please, the floor is yours. Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jun Sasaki of Kawasaki Kisen Kaisha, also known as K-Line, one of major Japanese shipping companies. I'd like to begin by thanking the government officials and all staff of this event for the invitation. I'm General Manager of Carbon Solution Business Group at K-Line. One of my key responsibilities is the transportation of LCO2 by sea. This is a business area that we are focusing on strongly and strategically. Today, I'd like to present our initiatives in the field of CO2 transport by sea for CCS. Before I proceed, I'd like to take a moment to introduce ourselves. K-Line established in 1919 and been engaged in ocean-going shipping for over a century with 6,000 employees worldwide, transporting a variety of goods. This is a fleet operated by K-Line. Our fleet comprises around 450 vessels. The transportation of CO2, which is the subject of this presentation, is carried in CO2 specialized tankers. CO2 is cooled to liquid state and its volume reduced before being packed into tanks. Liquefied CO2 is also called LCO2, like liquefied natural gas called LNG. The transport of CO2 for CCS has not yet commenced, but a fleet of certain size for Pacific Ocean will emerge in 2030s. I'd like to discuss the transportation of liquefied CO2 as part of our decarbonization efforts. Our environmental vision in 2050 is a clear commitment to environmental protection. We are working toward this goal. As a global shipping company, we are engaged in a number of diverse initiatives. Firstly, we are decarbonizing our fleet. Our annual CO2 emissions are around 7 million tons, which represents a significant challenge in reducing these emissions. The solution is to convert ship fuel from heavy oil to next generation fuels and so on. The other key area of focus is supporting decarbonization of society. This is my coverage in K-Line. We view this global decarbonization trend as a significant business opportunity and intend to leverage it to drive further growth for the company. This slide presents an overview of potential market of CO2 marine transport. We shipping industry have the absolute mission of ensuring we are prepared for the green future, of course, while at the same time not stopping the ongoing economy, which is already in motion. From this perspective, we believe using CCS to reduce CO2 emissions in the most reliable and affordable way, together with making a good use of transitional fuels like LNG. It is a realistic solution for the time being. LNG and CCS may look like the two sides of the same coin. Next, let's take a look at the market scale. Many of you may be familiar with CCS and its value chain. There are many statistics regarding CCS, but the current demand for CCS in the 2030s is around 50% of the anticipated CO2 emission reductions. It is also 1 billion tons per year of storage. The majority of CO2 will be transported via pipelines, with the remaining 10 to 20% going by sea. It equates around 200 vessels in the 2030s. This represents a middle-sized new market opportunity for us. This is a background why we are engaged in CCS and liquefied CO2 transport. We'd like to introduce you to some of our more specific initiatives together with our partners, which can be divided into three main phases. The first one is a commercial phase showing, this slide, sorry. The first one is commercial phase showing left side. This is the world's first project for the transport of liquefied CO2 for CCS, a Northern Light project in Norway. Next, As a part of technology development phase of the project, NIDO, a Japanese governmental organization, is conducting a so-called low temperature, low pressure transport demonstration test. The third phase, a significant portion of our activities, is in the field of feasibility studies based on partnerships with emitters and storage providers. This slide introduces Northern Lights project in Norway. This initiative is now entering a commercial phase for us. As many of you may be aware, it is the fastest launching offshore CCS project in the world, being promoted equal parts by Equinor, Shell, and Total. It is scheduled to come on stream later this year. In this project, CO2 emitters around Oslo in Norway liquefy CO2. Our vessel will carry liquefied CO2 to the receiving terminal built at Øygarden, near Bergen, on west coast of Norway. On the right is image of the incoming LCO2 carrier. It will be a medium temperature, medium pressure tank with a capacity of 7,500 cubic meters. 3 vessels of this type for us are under construction at the shipyards Dalian in China. The project includes subsidies from Norwegian government. Now I would like to introduce our company's approach to technology development. The vessel in this photo is low temperature, low pressure transport demonstration test ship, as he mentioned, named X-Cool. It was delivered at Mitsubishi Shipbuilding in November last year. We are involved in the demonstration experiment for this vessel under NEDO's leadership and support. The Northern Light fleet I mentioned earlier is medium temperature, medium pressure type called MTMP. Temperature is around minus 20 degrees Celsius and pressure is around 2.0 megapascal. This demonstration on the other hand, is designed for transportation in the temperature and pressure range known as low temperature, low pressure, LTLP, with a lower temperature around minus 50 degrees Celsius and slightly gentler pressure around 1.0 megapascal. The MTMP type requires expensive thick plates that can withstand high pressure as a tank material, but it is difficult to make the tanks larger. Therefore, it is suitable for relatively short distance and small size shipments. In the newly developed LTLP type, its steel plate for tank is thinner and cheaper, but LTLP has another challenge. The ideal temperature and pressure for LTLP is very close to the condition for formation of dry ice, known as triple point. We have to keep the ideal condition for LTLP and avoid any formation of dry ice inside tank by delicate control of temperature and pressure on board. LTLP is suitable for long distance and large-scale transport because relatively easy to increase the size of each tank by using thinner plate. This is just a graph of triple point for your reference. This slide, we'd like to introduce 2 specific examples of project study phase. Firstly, CCS project in Sarawak, Malaysia, which is being carried out in conjunction with Petronas, JAPEX, and JGC. The project is based on the promise of injection offshore Binsuru. Next one is another one in Australia, which is also seen as a promising offshore storage area. We are working with Australia's major energy company, Woodside, and Sumitomo Corporation on a feasibility study for the CCS. This is the final slide. I have prepared a summary of key points presented today as takeaways. Firstly, one realistic means of reducing CO2 emission is marine transport of liquefied CO2. Next, our first vessel for Northern Lights coming soon this year. MTMP and LTLP in Asia-Pacific region LP will be the measure for long distance transport. Major emitters, storage providers, and the shipping companies are working together in feasibility studies. And I'd like to put some important future issues also. First, the import and export of CO2 is contingent upon the conclusion of bilateral treaty. At the present, government officials from APAC countries are engaged in active dialogue. We fully appreciate their effort. Secondly, at present, CO2 itself may be no value, treated as an industrial waste at the moment. The characteristic of CCS may be similar to waste disposal system in your town. To ensure the viability of this initiative, it is crucial to keep the cost to a minimum. To achieve this, it is essential to standardize the CCS infrastructure. Furthermore, as in your town, public support is essential. We will do our best to make these things reality. That's all from my side. Thank you for attending today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Kawasaki. I think your company also one of the companies that operate worldwide as well. You show us the development of your liquefied CO2, kind of marine transport, as well as you emphasize on the CCS project. And you mentioned about interesting point that you mentioned LNG and CCS. It's a two sides of the same coin. Yeah, interesting. But anyway, have you heard about the carbon neutral LNG? I think they are in the picture very soon also. Carbon neutral LNG, another issue that perhaps you can think about it. Anyway, thank you so much for a key takeaway and way forward. We can discuss more in during Q&A if you have time. Thank you so much indeed. So the last but not least, I'd like to turn your attention this afternoon to the green financial mechanism. This is very important, mechanism that without it, nothing happened. So with that, I'd like to invite Mr. Suzuki, the DG of the JBIC, to share with us your practical solution on this development, on the financial mechanism under the purview of the JBIC. The floor is yours, please.
Thank you. A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here today to find collaboration opportunity with you all. So I will start my presentation with a self-introduction of JBIC, followed by our activities in Vietnam, Indonesia, and the Philippines. And last, I will touch upon our focus area under AZEC initiative. So after my presentation, I do hope that you will have a clear-cut idea how you can use JBIC for your decarbonization activities. So let's start with a brief introduction of JBIC. JBIC, the Japan Bank for International Cooperation, is fully owned by the Japanese government to implement policy-based financing. With the 4 missions to be achieved, and our activities, the contribution under AZEC initiative will be conducted under our mission number 2 and 3, because we are going to apply Japanese campus technologies investment for the global agenda of the environment. And just for your reference, I am a Director General of the New Energy and Power Finance Department 2. As you may imagine that, my department is handling the power sector projects. But on top of that, I am responsible for the relationship management with host countries, including ASEAN countries, because JBIC have supported lots of power sector projects in this region. So JBIC management decided to set up a dedicated cross-functional or task group for the contribution of the AZEC. I was appointed as a manager to lead this task group. That's why I'm here today to introduce our activities under AZEC initiative. So let's move to the main topic, what we have done in these 3 countries. As Ms. Takahashi and Mr. Umeda mentioned in their remarks, one of the principles of AZEC is a triple breakthrough by achieving decarbonization, economic growth, and energy security at the same time. In order to achieve this ambitious goal, it is critically important for us to recognize that there should be various pathways, and that should be practical one, considering the circumstance of the region. As you know well, the circumstance of Asian region is totally different from that in EU region. We, including Japan, are still relying on the fossil fuel. So JBIC will continue our support for the gas-fired power plant as far as those plants will be in line with Paris Agreement. And when we look at Asian circumstances, the situation of each country may be different from one another. I'm not going into detail with this slide, but in order to deliver appropriate solutions for each country, JBIC, together with METI, have already set up a framework of policy dialogue with each government. In Vietnam, we have set up AZEC GX Promotion Working Team, together with 32 Japanese companies, and also Ministry of Industry and Trade of Vietnamese government, mainly to deliver the better regulations and policies so that we can develop the large-scale bankable gas-fired power plants in Vietnam. In Indonesia, we have set up joint task force with coordinating Ministry of Economic Affairs without the regular member of Japanese companies. That is different from Vietnam. But we will invite the Japanese companies if our partner will find any challenges, obstacles to be cleared for their implementation of decarbonization activities. In the Philippines, where the power sector has been privatized for more than 20 years, we have signed MOUs with 3 major conglomerates in the Philippines because they are the major player in the Philippine power sector to find collaboration opportunity for the decarbonization activities. And just in case we may face some difficulties to implement or to execute the decarbonization activities, we have inaugurated high-level coordination dialogue with Department of Energy so that we can deliver appropriate solutions for our activities. These policy dialogue framework will be very useful to improve the investment climate in each country, but this is not our goal for decarbonization. We have set up this framework to materialize tangible projects to which we are going to extend our financial support. So let's see what kind of financial tool you can use for your decarbonization activities. As you can see, we have various financial tools, and I'm going to touch upon 3 tools, namely export loans, overseas investment loans, and untied green facilities. And we have some eligibility criteria to which project we are going to apply which financial tools, but please do not worry about these criteria. We will handle to deliver the right solution for your projects. So please pay your attention what kind of projects JB can support through our past achievement. The first one I would like to explain is our support for the geothermal power plants in Turkey. The project company has decided to import the flash turbine from Toshiba. So we have extended our financial support for the project company so that they can purchase the flash turbines. And this is very conventional type of the geothermal power plant, but please note that we can find the better solution or latest technologies, including so-called closed-loop technologies that can be used just as heat of the underground, not the steam. So the risk of the development could be much lower than the conventional type. And next one is an interconnection project between UK and Germany. And we have applied overseas investment loans because we found the Japanese sponsors in this project. And one of the common agenda and urgent problem for Asian region is the lack of the transmission network, including the interconnection between countries. So this scheme, this is actually done by PPP mechanism, could be applied in Asian region to develop the interconnection of long-distance transmission lines. For these geothermal interconnection, we found the Japanese company's strong presence as a supplier of the equipment or investor of the project. But even without the direct involvement of Japanese companies, we can support the decarbonization activities through our green credit lines. And we have supported the waste-to-energy projects in India, and also another interconnection projects between Egypt and Saudi Arabia. And the last one I would like to introduce is our efforts for the energy efficiency promotion, again in Turkey. As you may know, Turkey is a manufacturing export hub for the EU market. And to be in line with the CBAM, the Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, the Turkish government and private companies have been so keen to reduce their energy consumption. So we have extended our green credit line through our Turkish development bank partners to deliver our financial support for the company who are going to do energy efficiency projects. Hopefully, it's not the mandate, hopefully with the application of Japanese technologies. And we have actually achieved several energy efficiency projects with the application of Japanese equipment. So please do let me know if you have any plan for the energy efficiency project. Maybe we can provide some solutions, including an introduction of Japanese technologies and extending our financial support. I'm going to close my session by delivering key takeaways. JBIC is not just a financial institution. We can introduce Japanese solutions based on our wide range of network with Japanese companies. And of course, we can extend our financial support when you decided to conduct your decarbonization activities. And also, as a government entity, we can utilize our framework of the policy dialogue to improve the business environment. I would like to finish my presentation wishing that this could be a kickoff for us to collaborate for your decarbonization project. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Suzuki. I think your presentation gives some hope, to some country or our participant here today. I think working globally under the JBIC, I think what you're trying to say could be in cooperation with ADB mechanism. Definitely, you have to work together, right, in harmony. With that, I think you mentioned about your approach, just like Euro, just like between IMF and World Bank, right? It's very important, right? You start from top down, and you mentioned about the 3 countries. I think we're gonna talk about it during the Q&A, maybe better. I just myself interested in something like direct power purchase agreement. Right now the DPPA is quite the interesting point in some country like Vietnam and Thailand to scale up the renewable energy with the private sector. So with that, this is our last, presenter today. With that, could you give me the big applause to all of them again for presentation? I think we have about 15 minutes left. I think with a clearer picture that we heard, to promote the effort and practical pathway toward carbon neutrality, considering different national circumstances, considering fostering cooperation among countries under the AZEC principle. I'd like to turn the floor into the Q&A right now, immediately, so that our audience can hear a bit more concrete and highlight in some point that you might take away, after this session. I'd like to ask only one question to the government. We have 2 government here, right? So the question that I like to pose here on the table is as follows. For Philippines and Indonesia, you can answer either of you first or last. To achieve zero emission target, there might be the key challenges, like policy uncertainty, that's very important, political will, technology barrier, technology transfer, right? Regulatory challenges, investment risk to happen. So how your countries can unlock the zero emission part to overcome those challenges, to achieve carbon decarbonization while maintaining security, considering cooperation, for example, power source decarbonization from government point of view, or financial support For example, in AZEC framework, we may have Asia Transition Finance that you may heard, or any other issue that your countries, roadmap you want to share with us with some highlight. So I will start with, you want Indonesia or Philippines first? You catch my question, right? Maybe Indonesia, please, Pak. Your view, please.
Yeah, thank you. Hard question.
It's okay.
Okay, I'll try to answer.
3 minutes, not too long. You have 3 minutes because the time is very close.
30 minutes.
Make it 3 minutes.
Oh,
You don't worry. Very quick.
yeah, okay, thank you very much. So yeah, to achieve our target net zero emissions now is 2060 or early. We have some program that's, as you know, that's we declare now the program is, the name is Accelerated Renewable Energy Development. This is why that's, as you said before, that we need some supporting for the financial, for the funding. Yeah. So how to achieve the target, and also the target also can support by the financial. So we share the project with our private company. So for example, I mentioned before that we have to develop the 44 gigawatt for the new power plant. We just developed by our company is around 38%. 62% we share to our partner in Indonesia or around the world, that to develop together. But we make the roadmap how to what we have to do. So this is what our effort. And then so also we make some co-investment or co-partnership with our colleagues, and then everywhere that's we need some financial, and also we can get a more agreement together, yeah, to develop this one. And then also now we want to share in the next, maybe in the August or July, we will share all of our projects. We call it, the program is investment days. Investment day, that we will announce to everywhere that we want to achieve the net zero emission, that we need some project, we need some project for transmission line also, and then we let everybody join with us to develop together. This is what our program.
Thank you so much. I think it's quite clear to all of us. Maybe the Filipinos. Yes.
Yeah. In terms of what we're doing in the Philippines, for the entry of, let's say, variable renewable energy like offshore wind, we're coming out with the Smart and Green Grid Plan, or SGGP, which we aim to finance. Either the government will take an active role in it, but we've also been pushing for possible granting or support for it. And one of the things that is part of that plan is to target the locations. We're into decouple it from the existing National Grid Corporation of the Philippines operator, so that in terms of the cost, the impact will be lessened. We're also looking at the building out our reserves market, energy storage solutions, so that the entry of this variable renewable energy will be better managed. I'll also take this opportunity to just reiterate that in terms of renewable energy, the service contracting direction has been liberalized. We now allow for 100% foreign ownership, access to renewable energy for key technologies. And for a lot more information, of course, we'll be here the entire remainder of the week and we'll share those with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Director. I think for me, it's quite promising, statement from the two government. I think the key point is if, as long as the government has predictable and clear policies, I think private sector has confidence to move on. So any question from the floor? Maybe one question, quick, to the government? Otherwise, they're going to move to company. Not yet? Okay. So now, let's move to the company now. So the company, let me start. You hear the promising from government already. So on the point of view of the private sector, let me start, JERA, okay? So Mr. Niwa, what are the barriers that JERA may encounter to implement renewable, like, for example, hydrogen, as well as the ammonia project that you just mentioned across diverse circumstances in those countries? What's the barrier that you found? And also how your company overcome those challenges? And the last point is that how your company ensure the long-term sustainability of this initiative that you just mentioned to all of us. Mr. Niwa, 3 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you for
Sorry.
giving me 3 minutes. I believe there are 3 major issues. Firstly, we would like to introduce renewable energy as much as possible, but the development speed will be limited due to the constraints, various constraints, such as each country's potential, power system capability, and human resources. So I think it's important to understand what constraints each country faces. The first one.
Okay.
The second is hydrogen ammonia combustion is a new technology at this moment. So there are technical challenges, including safety issues going forward. So for especially higher rate combustion. So to solve these challenges, our company, JERA, is trying to proceed with demonstration tests in our own assets. This is the sort of, and third, there are economic challenges. This is a common challenge for renewable energy and low carbon fuel combustion as well. In order to make the proposal affordable for each country, it's necessary to establish regulations, including subsidy scheme. That is the third point. So JERA will proceed with the potential while formulating the optimal low carbon roadmap for each country and regions, and also confirming affordability.
And you closely monitor its sustainability, right?
Yes, yes.
That is very important,
Yeah.
you know, to end at the end of the day. So thank you so much. I think it's clear also on this question. Now I have to move to Mitsubishi now. Mr. Takahashi, for Mitsubishi Heavy Industry. Mitsubishi, what are the challenges faced by different countries in Asia that you came across as they pursue energy transition, and how they approach this challenge, sir? How Mitsubishi helps supporting those countries in energy transition? Just highlight something that from your presentation. Mr. Takahashi, please. 3 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, I will measure the
Please.
3 minutes. So thank you for your question, Miyawata-san. So as everyone said, even within Asia Pacific, every country has different agenda for the energy transition. The nations with a large population, such as Indonesia, Philippines, and Vietnam, need to satisfy the growing demand of electricity, as Niwa-san and everyone said.
Yes, yes.
And for those countries, energy affordability is critically important. And the base load, large-scale thermal power plants are the essential for those nations. So MHA Group can support decarbonization of existing base load power plants, power infrastructures with our technologies and experiences, as I introduced today. For example, replacing the coal-fired power plant with gas turbine combined cycle plant, or fuel conversions, or CCS. And on the other hand, some countries are trying to accelerate decarbonization strategically. Let me introduce an example of Singapore. For Singapore, also, our approach of energy transition is effective, I suppose. In particular, hydrogen-ready gas turbines will be the best solution for the pathway for Singapore, I believe. Singapore government issued national hydrogen strategy, and their target is that 50% of power generation in 2050 will be originated from hydrogen. And now they are deploying high-efficient hydrogen-ready gas turbines, and I believe they will combust hydrogen when the low-carbon hydrogen is commercially available. So we will support diversified energy transition in APAC region. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I do believe that Mitsubishi can move on to other AZEC partner countries, right? Because hydrogen right now comes at the top agenda in many countries, because that is a really future energy, clean energy at the end of the day. Thank you so much. Another 3 minutes for K-Line, Mr. Sasaki. So I think you have a lot of success you show us, from K-Line activities. So I think there might be some challenge, of course, as well that you face. For example, on the CCAs, on the liquefied CO2 transportation project in the AZEC countries. So what are those challenges again, that hinder for your liquefied CO2 carriers, and what strategy that you overcome the sustainability of your project? Please, you got my point. The first one, what are those challenge barriers hinder the liquefied CO2 barrier? What are the challenges? And then what strategy that you overcome those barriers to ensure sustainability of the CO2 shipping for wider use?
Okay, thank you for asking. The one barrier for LCO2 vessel is production of tanks. Each component technology of liquefied CO2 is almost proven, but the problem is there is not enough manufacturing capacity of large size of tanks. Tanks are necessary not only for ships but also land. So, but less manufacturer of tanks at the moment. So public support may be necessary for this industry also. And our strategy is standardized. In shipping industry, we have already shared the necessity of standardized. In addition, K-Line will have a good know-how from Norway, so we will try to how should I say, import from Europe to export to Asia to improve LCO2 trade in Asian Pacific.
Okay.
Yep. And for sustainability. For
How
sustainability.
you monitor it?
Yes. We will try to be a leading company and try to expand our business.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I hope that K-Line can continue develop the the LCO2 marine transport further to other AZEC interested country, right? So thank you so much on that. So last but not least, another 3 minutes, very important now. Mr. Suzuki, you are JBIC, you're on the financial mechanism. So what are the key challenges that JBIC faced, in implementing energy transition project? For example, in Vietnam, you just mentioned Vietnam, Indonesia, and Philippines. One more time, highlight it. Particularly, I want to hear in terms of technical, a little bit on policy, regulatory, financial aspect, all combined. Are those challenges for you or not? Are those factors challenges for you or not? And also, there might be some huge potential of new technology that you mentioned, the new technology, emerging technology, new energy such as hydrogen, ammonia, to be used for decarbonization project. How can JBIC support this new technology? So please share with us 3 minutes. Thank you.
Okay. The hardest challenge we are facing among the three countries, Vietnam, Indonesia, and the Philippines, is the Vietnam, because we have to change the regulations. We need to have the certain circular which prevent the PPA, which is attractive for foreign investors. So we have just submitted our proposal to the relevant ministry in Vietnam so that they can improve or revise the relevant regulation, the circular, to develop the large-scale coal and gas-fired power plant. And it's a time constraint is our major issue, especially in Vietnam, because we cannot continue our support for the gas-fired power plants forever. We have to position that gas-fired power plant project support as a transition, energy transition. So the more we spend the time to revise the circular, the less opportunity for us to materialize the project. And in the Philippines, it's not that the matter of the power sector, but the liquidity of the local currency is a problem for us, because the huge liquidity in the Philippine peso funding is there, and the Philippine company can raise a fund through that local currency market, not for long term, just for short term, 3 years, 5 years, and they are rotating that short term or mid-term funding. But Japanese companies prefer long-term stable funding. So it's our challenge to secure long-term Philippine peso funding that could be applied even in Indonesia in the future. And for the new technology like hydrogen, ammonia, or liquefied CO2, we have already set up our special account operation in which we can take higher risk, including the higher sovereign risk or higher technological risk. So we may be able to apply this special account operations so that we can accommodate the project with new energy or new technologies.
Thank you. So you're concerned on the accountability and support to this emerging. So I think it's interesting, because not only technical alone, you can see the big burden is on financial and regulation that people talk less this day. Because most of the people, whenever I go in some workshop, they focus on technologies. That's why we are here in ADB. So I think that ADB can help us in the future with cooperative activity. So I think your answer is quite clear to us. Any question from the floor? Only one minute question. I think I'd like to hear from the floor, at least one. Maybe I have an ADB people friend here. Why not you ask them one question before I close? I have 2 minutes left now. Please, any question to them? Yeah, please. Anyone want to ask something on the zero emission? No? So it means it's quite clear. It's very clear. No? So there's no question at all. So interesting indeed. So I think we come to the close now. Any words from our panelists for the few seconds? Any word? No? So in a nutshell, I think it's time to close. Of course, the technology that we heard today, such as CCUS or CCS, carbon recycling, ammonia, hydrogen technology, and so on. I'd like to thank to the company initiative today. You can hear them more, follow them, through the zero emission strategy that we're gonna announce very soon. So under the AZEC, Asia Zero Emission, this is a promising commitment from the leader. So we have to move on. So with that, I think the finance scheme is one of the important to realize, to deploy those technology. This is very crucial indeed that earlier we set up this center. So I think area in Jakarta trying to explore to promote transition finance as well as carbon credit in the region from now. With that, this kind of thing demand holistic approach, of course. For your information, the Asia Zero Emission Center will be launched in August during the ministerial meeting in Jakarta. So after August, you can hear this center operate, in this region to move zero emission, strategy to the region. So with that, I'd like to finish the overall key takeaway from our speaker that from now we should go for the inclusive, go for the resilient plan, a part for our future zero emission community. So inclusive and resilient is the key word. So with that, I conclude the deep dive workshop today. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me to give a big applause to our honorable panelists today, please. And that's closed the session. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.